You wake to the taste of dirt in your mouth and the heavy press of a world that does not care if you live or die. The ground is cold beneath your body, the air damp, and your bones ache from lying against bare earth through the long prehistoric night. There is no bed, no blanket, no house to shield you, only the faint rustle of grass taller than you, the buzzing of insects already hungry for your blood, and the low cough of something moving in the distance. Survival is not a right here. It is a roll of dice you never see. The miracle is not that you breathe. It is that you somehow made it until morning without being chewed. Every dawn begins with relief that your body is still whole, and yet morning is not safety. It is only the next round of the trial. Before you drift off, do me a small favor and tap the like button and subscribe, but only if you actually enjoy what I do here. Drop a comment telling me where you are listening from and what time it is for you. The sky is not the familiar blue of comfort, but a pale, harsh dome. The sun climbs fast, merciless, without kindness, turning dew to steam. The smell of night lingers, rotting vegetation, animal musk, and the sour stench of carcasses left half devoured in the grass. You sit up, stiff, your skin streaked with scratches from brambles, your hair clotted with dust. All around you, the world hums with life, but none of it belongs to you. Birds shriek warnings, monkeys rattle branches, insects drone in swarms, each announcing that you are not the master here, merely a fragile animal caught in a landscape, indifferent to your struggle. Your throat is already dry. Sleep is not rest in this age. It is an endless fight to keep from freezing, from being bitten, from being dragged into the dark by teeth. You licked condensation from leaves to survive the night. Now your tongue feels like cracked leather. The craving for water burns deeper than hunger, deeper than fear. You know there is a stream not far, but streams are traps. Every beast knows you will come there. Lions crouch in silence at the edge. Crocodiles float like logs with eyes. Snakes rest coiled beneath reeds. Yet without water, you will not see another sunrise. So you rise on shaky legs, every step a risk, every sound in the grass a possible death. The ground is uneven. Sharp stones press into your feet, but shoes are an invention centuries beyond imagination. The calluses on your soles are your only armor, and even they split and bleed when cut. As you walk, you notice bones. They are everywhere in this world, scattered like warnings. A zebra's skull cracked open for brain and marrow, a bird's wing torn away, feathers still clinging in the dew. Bones of your kind, too, long femurs bleached by sun, ribs gnawed by hyenas. You do not stop to mourn. Mourning is a luxury invented by safer ages. Here bones are not a story. They are simply part of the ground, and the ground is greedy. It takes everything eventually. The insects are awake now. Mosquitoes whine against your ears, biting any exposed skin, leaving welts that itch until they bleed. Flies settle on your eyes and mouth, drinking your sweat. Tist's flies drift lazily, but you know their sting carries sickness that can melt your strength from within. You swat, but they always return. Your hands are calloused, cracked, nails broken from clawing at bark and soil. You do not look clean. You cannot look clean. Dirt is your second skin. There is no breakfast waiting. No bread, no fruit arranged on plates, no fire to cook with. The idea of a meal is a fragile thing. If you are lucky, you may find berries later, roots to chew, or scraps left from another predator's kill. Hunger is a companion, as constant as your shadow. It gnaws slowly, always present, sometimes sharp enough to make you dizzy, sometimes just a dull ache behind your ribs. You are never satisfied. To live here is to be always wanting, always searching. The body is a hollow that cannot be filled. You pause when you hear movement in the grass. It is impossible to know what waits, a breeze, a rabbit, or something that will end you. Your ears strain. The silence is worse than the noise, because silence means something is watching. You grip a stick, though you know it is useless. A cat with fangs, longer than your hand, could crush your throat in seconds. Still you clutch it, because empty hands feel like surrender. The grass sways again, then stills. You breathe shallow, your heart beating like a trapped bird in your chest. The danger passes, at least for now. You move again, because stillness is death too. The sun climbs higher, beating on your back. Sweat mixes with dirt, runs into your eyes. There is no shade. Trees are scattered, and many are already claimed by other animals. You learned early that to walk into the wrong shadow is to be ripped apart. Your people know how to glance, to judge by smell and silence. If a branch above hides a leopard, your senses are the only tools sharper than your hands. Lose focus, and you are gone. The last, you hear water, the gurgle of a stream cutting through stone. Relief floods your chest, but fear follows fast. You crouch low, scanning the banks. The mud is thick with tracks: zebra, antelope, lion. You see the imprint of claws, fresh. Something was here last night, maybe still is. You must drink, but you must not die drinking. You wait, trembling, listening to the hum of flies over the water. Then slowly, you crawl forward. Your lips meet the surface. The water is warm, bitter with algae, but you gulp anyway, desperate. Every swallow feels like victory. Every swallow might also be a mistake, because you cannot see the parasites writhing within. You drink until your belly aches, then pull away, wiping your mouth with the back of your hand. For now you live. Tomorrow you may sicken. That is tomorrow's problem. Survival is only today. You crouch by the stream, watching dragonflies flicker across the surface. The reflection in the water startles you. Your face is not like the faces of later humans. The brow is heavy, the jaw jutting, the body more ape than modern man. You are caught in the in-between, a fragile experiment still shaping itself across the ages. Your arms are long, your legs strong, your stomach lean from constant hunger. Your skin is streaked with scars from branches, teeth, claws. You stare into the water as if it might explain why you endure. But the water only ripples back your hollow eyes. The rest of the group stirs behind you. You are not truly alone. Few survive alone for long. They emerge from grass and trees, some limping, some carrying infants, all with the same haunted look. The young cling to their mothers, their ribs sharp beneath thin skin. The older ones move slower, their bones already weary. You do not speak as later humans speak. Communication is glances, grunts, gestures, but the meaning is clear. Hunger, thirst, danger, always the same. The sun is high now. The heat pounds down, shimmering across the plain. You will move soon, searching for food, for safety, for something that will carry you into another night. But as you stand, you know night will come again, and with it the eyes in the dark, the teeth, the endless gamble of existence. There is no promise in this world. no future. There is only this moment, this breath, this fragile body clinging to life. And as the insects drone, and the stream trickles, and the grass sways with unseen movements, you realize the most terrifying truth. To survive here is not to live, it is only to not die. Yet the thirst begins before you stand. It lives in the cracks of your tongue and the sand behind your eyes, a small animal clawing your throat from the inside. You try to swallow, and the swallow scrapes, dry on dry, as if you're drinking dust. The world at 4.7 million years ago is generous with teeth and sun, but stingy with water. Clouds pass without kindness. The wind comes hot and leaves hotter. You know how long you can carry thirst, how your sight will narrow to a tunnel, how your legs will forget what stepping is, how your head will fill with the sound of bees that are not there because you have done this before. You will do it again. You will do it until you don't. You move early because the air is kinder then, because predators that love ambush are still lazy with the night's kill. You do not walk as the later people walk, upright and tireless, but you walk enough. The ground is a library of yesterday, prints of zebra crescents pressed into mud that has forgotten it was once water, hippo tracks sunk like footprints in bread, the wide round stamps of elephants who were wiser than you and left when the pool turned to soup fringed with scum. Your feet read these pages because they must. The pool still holds a dark bruise of liquid under crust. You can smell it before you see it, the sweet rot of decaying algae and dung. Water here is never just water. It is a community of mouths you cannot see, and some of those mouths are knives. You slow without deciding to. Every lesson you keep has teeth marks in it. You learn to approach from the side the wind favors, to keep your shape broken behind scrub, to listen for the soft, wrong sound, not the breeze, not the grass, not the frogs, something heavier, patient, close to the skin of the water. Crocodiles do not breathe often, but when they do, the breath is a secret you can catch if you are empty enough to notice it. Hippos snort like broken bells and are faster than your fear thinks. Cats drink like thieves, quick, silent, then gone. You delay because delay is life. Thirst does not kill as quickly as jaws do. Your group gathers in a ragged fan behind you. A female with a heavy infant slung against her, his fists opening and closing at nothing. A young male whose ribs ladder beneath skin, eyes bright with the wrong kind of brightness. Two others who are not old but move like they are, because here you become old in the joints before the hair has a chance to gray. Words are not your tool yet, but faces are. Your glance says wait. Their faces say we know. The infant's face says now. The pool is shallow enough that the sun prints your shadows onto its skin. You find the place where the bank slopes gently, where reeds thicken, bad signs, but where the mud holds prints of something small that drank and lived to leave. You squat and pick a reed, split the soft green with your teeth, make of it a straw, because that is what your hands can make without fire or stone. You touch the water first with the reed, and nothing happens. You touch again. Closer, your ears beat time with your blood. Then you put the reed to your lips and draw the warm, bitter water up past the scum, past the skin of insects. The first mouthful is relief and warning. It tastes like a thing that wants to live inside you. You drink anyway. You always drink anyway. No one survives thirst by manners. The young male leans too far, and you hiss not a word, a sound like thorn against hide. He freezes. A bubble winks near his hand. The surface lifts gently as a breath, and the eyes come 2 coins of old yellow sliding just above the water. You feel your shoulder blades harden. The muscles along your spine stand up like animals of their own. You have been pulled before. The scars along one thigh are a memory your skin keeps more perfectly than your mind. You do not run because suddenness is an invitation. You glide backward, knees bent, every step a whisper. The eyes sink, bored or patient. You do not ask which. You move the group along the bank as if the decision happened inside the grass, not inside your head. There is another place you know, where a trickle keeps speaking to the stone long after the pool goes quiet. It is hidden under a spill of rock, guarded not by teeth, but by stubbornness. You learned it one season when the elephants taught you. They dug with their feet until the earth sweated, and then bled, and then gave. And when they left you, put your hands into the wound, and brought water to your mouth, dark with earth, tasting of root and stone. You lead the group there now. The ground hardens under your feet. Heat comes up from it like breath. Your shadow thickens, then splits as the rocks blot the sun. You slide into the crease where trickle meets bowl, and you smell the iron of wet stone. You press your palm to mud, cool. You dig with your fingers first, then with a broken branch you sharpened by use alone, not by design. This is a good digging stick because it has already dug and not snap. The mud fattens, darkens, shivers. Water noses up, curious. You make a cup of your hands and offer it to the infant because he has no store of thirst yet and must be taught the currency. He gulps and chokes and laughs a sound without laughter in it. The others take turns, cupping, passing, cupping. Patience, a fragile rope you share, so you do not hang from it. You do not drink until the bitter taste grows less bitter. You skim the first murk for others. You are not noble, you are practical. The mouth that eats next to you is the mouth that will shout when your eyes are forward and a leopard's are not. Water is a teacher you fear and adore. It tells you where paths will be easiest because the ground slopes toward it. It draws herds in carpets that move. It pulls predators in like a voice. You plan the day around water, where it is close but not too close, where shade leans over it and makes the air kinder, where a breeze runs crosswise so your smell goes wrong. You know the trick of sucking dew from the fur of leaves at dawn, when the sky breathes out and the earth breathes in. You know the fat roots that hide drink in their bellies, how to split them, squeeze them, chew, and spit the fibers dry like old bone. You know to break vine and hold the cut end to your lips, counting the drops that appear like small mercies. You know that some milks are lies. The plant that looks like a promise will punish you with a mouthful of needles you cannot spit. When there is no open water at all, you watch the animals that live closer to it than you. You follow bees not because of sweetness, that is a different age, but because bees do not fly far from dampness. Their flight is a map. You follow the hornbill to a hollow in a tree that holds a cup of last season's storm. You listen for frogs. Their throat songs are arrows. You press your ear to the ground where termite hills stretch like tiny volcano chains. Sometimes you can hear the dim rush of what flows below and cut toward it, even if you cannot make it come up. You learn to smell wet without seeing it. The air changes, grows heavier, carries the breath of plants that only grow at a certain closeness to water. That smell becomes a promise and a compass. It also becomes a trick when the wind lies. Disease lives in the water the way small fish do. You do not know the names later. People will give the things that climb into you and refuse to leave. You know their works. The long hunger that doesn't end when food comes, the softening of knees, the heat that swallows sleep from the inside, the belly that sings and empties until there is no more to empty. You know the way the eyes of the sick go glassy and the way their sweat smells wrong. You have watched someone drink and then shrink and then stop. You learn to scoop from where water is moving, to avoid the fly parties where they dance their small corpse dances on the surface, to leave the pool if it tastes like metal or spring sap. But the line between wisdom and superstition is thin when the teacher is invisible. Sometimes the clean water kills, sometimes the dirty water forgives. You go back anyway because your blood is made of the same thing and begs for it. You fear water holes at dusk most. The day feels like it is unclenching, but predators are coiling. You learn to drink when the sun is cruel, not kind. Those who hunt prefer soft light, and you prefer to be an inconvenience. Midday is when you find the narrow, secret places where shade cuts a blade into the bank and makes a small room of cool. There you drink in quick handfuls and do not stay to talk. There you smear your arms and legs with mud and let it dry to a skin that is not yours. It turns the sun's teeth and makes your smell less honest. Mud is your only clothing that the day respects. It also calls to flies like a gift. Everything you are given here is taken back with a fee. Sometimes the sky surprises you. A weather mussel flexes beyond the ridge and throws a handful of coins that race toward you on wind. The first drop hits your shoulder, a sound like a knuckle knocking on bark. The second bloom splats into the dust and vanishes. Then the sky remembers how to be generous and breaks its jar. You lift your face as the old people in the far future will lift their faces under showers, and you open your mouth and laugh because laughing is a body. Remembering it is more than caution. You spoon rain pooled from leaves. You put your palm under snarled grass where it runs like thin milk. You spread your arms and turn because to be wet and not afraid is a feeling your bones do not have a word for yet. Afterward, the earth smells like it has been sharpened with a stone. The green sharpens too, and for a day the animals forget to hate each other and only eat. When the rains come wrong, too far apart, too brief, too furious, you learn a different lesson. The ground drinks too fast and then cracks, and water goes where you cannot reach it. You follow riverbeds south, because south holds promise when north tastes like smoke. Migration is a thirst with legs. You cross country your feet do not know, and you pay for ignorance with blood at the edges of callus, with sleeps that are not sleeps under thorn bushes, where your dreams are not yours, but belong to the night watch voices of hyenas, with mornings where you count heads, and your throat closes because one head is gone, and you do not know where the night put it. The living do not linger on the living. You get up, you follow the line of green that shows where the roots have kept secrets in their hollows. You dig, you bruise your hands until your nails are more memory than keratin. You lap the mud and call it sweet. You are not always gentle in your thirst. When another band comes to the same seep, you watch. Their movement says hunger. Their eyes say calculation. Your movement says the same. You are animals in the same sentence, and the punctuation is distance. Sometimes you trade space. Your turn now, our turn, when the sun moves a hand. Sometimes trade is a lie, and rock meets bone, and someone does not get up. Later ages will call it territory, conflict, war. You call it keeping your infant from carrying your thirst into tomorrow. The line between patience and rage is a mouth wide enough to swallow whole families. You try not to let it open. Most days you succeed. The days you do not write themselves in scars. Elephants are different. They come when they want, and you do not argue because you prefer your legs attached. You stand back under the spell of their size and the wind in their ears and the complicated way they speak with feet, and you watch them do what you would do if your feet were shovels. Cut into the ground where you smelled wet and make a well of it. When they step aside, you step in, small at the edge of the large, and you drink from their work. You will call many things teacher in your life: pain, hunger, sun, silence. Today, you add elephant. There are tricks you have gathered and stored the way later people will gather seeds, chew a bundle of long grass, press and twist it into a rough sponge, push it into a crack that sweats, squeeze back into your mouth what it steals. A handful becomes a mouthful, becomes the difference between speech and stumbling. Find a rock that cups itself and shelter it from sun with a mat of leaves. Come back at dawn when dew has written itself into the hollow. Carve with your teeth a notch in a branch and tie with sinew the sack of a small animal you ate. Fill it, carry it weakly against your side until thirst tells you that even warm, even tasting of blood and bark, it is good. You do not have names for canteen or filter or vessel, but you have the verbs for each: carry, strain, keep. The day grows narrow. Heat traps smell under it and triples it. You can taste the salt of your skin without licking it. Your lips are a crust. The infant sleeps as if he has solved thirst for himself. Mouth open, small whistles of breath that make your heart pull tight, because breath is the thinnest rope anyone ever walked. The young male wanders toward shade, and you yank him back by the wrist, because the shade is not shade. It is a leopard written in dapple that the eye forgets to read. He stumbles, resents, then sees. His resentment turns to shame. Later he will try to pay it back with a louder vigilance. You do not keep accounts. You do not have the leisure. You put your palm on the rock and feel it hot enough to cook a small thing if you knew cooking. You do not. Your mouth waters at a thought you will not know how to fulfill for 1,000,000 years. Afternoon lengthens toward the hour when everything becomes edges. You choose a place to wait it out: a thorn tangle with a back wall of stone, a small view to water where your eye can catch movement before movement catches you. You do not drink again, even though the water is there, because dusk writes invitations, and you are tired of hosting death. You suck the last sweetness from a chewed root. It tastes like hope ground in dirt. The infant wakes and fusses. You sway because swaying is older than song, and sometimes it lies well enough to the body to trick it into calm. Night rehearses itself on the horizon. First a gray dimming, then a bruise deepening, then a crucial moment when the world belongs to neither day nor dark, and every shape pretends to be something else. You hate this hour because your eyes are honest and the world is not. You count the group with a glance. Again, you listen to the water for language. Plop says frog, slap says tail. No sound at all says you should leave. You wait until the sky makes a decision and stars hook into it. A wind arrives as if it owns the place, and it does. It moves through grass in sheets. You can see and hear. The pool speaks less now. Things that love dark are waking. You pull the group back from the edge, deeper into thorn. Thirst is a smaller animal now that the air has loosened its grip. You feel its claws relax. It does not leave. It never leaves. It only sleeps. Sickness comes later. If it comes, you cannot borrow against it. When the belly begins its drumming, you will remember the warm, bitter draw of the reed, and you will not blame yourself, because blame is too expensive. You will move slower. You will pass water like a torn gourd. You will lie in shade, while others go and gather. If your body decides it has had enough apprenticeships to pain, you will stop. The ground will take you as easily as it took the antelope, whose ribs you cleaned with your teeth 3 days ago, and the flies will write your ending with the same pen they wrote hers. If your body decides to live, you will stand again, and the next thirst will be waiting with its open mouth. You will put your hand into the earth and make water come up and call it a victory, because it is. This is how you survive the thing that kills quicker than fangs, with slowness when the heart prays for haste, with listening when the throat sings for plunging, with a handful before a mouthful, with a kind of patience that looks like cruelty to the part of you that is still a child. You learn that water is both neighbor and enemy. You learn that distance from it can be a safer country than the bank beside it. You learn that every taste is a bargain. You learn that the world will not apologize for your thirst. You drink anyway. You live for now. The night presses its ear to your ribs and counts. The pool holds its breath. The stars look like salt thrown by a careless hand. You close your eyes with the taste of stone on your tongue and the memory of sweetness behind your teeth, and you keep the quiet promise you make to yourself each evening to wake again and begin again and go looking for the water that has been hiding from you since before your bones remembered how to stand. Hunger has been waiting for you since the moment you licked the last drop of water from your palm. It is the constant guest in your gut, pacing, gnawing, whispering louder than thought. You wake with it. You walk with it. You sleep with it, curling like a snake inside your belly. At first it only scratches, a dull ache that can be ignored. Then it tightens, bites, makes your head feel hollow, your legs heavy. If thirst is an animal with sharp claws, hunger is slower, patient, a parasite that waits, knowing it will win if given enough days. The land around you is full of food, yet almost none of it is yours. The grass waves endlessly, green oceans rolling beneath the sky, but your teeth cannot tame it. The herds that graze it, zebra, gazelle, antelope, are banquets of muscle and fat, but they run faster than your bones can carry you and fight harder than your hands can hold. The trees hang heavy with fruit in some seasons, but what looks sweet may rot your insides or numb your tongue until you choke. Every mouthful here is a question asked of the earth. Will this feed me or finish me? Your kind are scavengers first, hunters only by accident. You move through the brush, eyes sharp for signs of a kill abandoned, nose twitching at the iron scent of blood. The vultures are your guides, circling high above, their wings black against the sun. Where they spiral, something has fallen. You follow cautious, because the kill may not be done. Lions eat first, then hyenas, then the jackals and dogs. You low on the ladder. Wait until the banquet has been picked nearly clean. Then you creep in, shaking, terrified, driven by hunger stronger than fear, and you smash bone with stone, lick marrow, scrape scraps of meat with fingernails worn to the quick. You chew cartilage until your jaw aches. You lick until the taste is gone, and your tongue finds only dust. You do not eat like kings. You eat like ghosts, gnawing at the edges of someone else's feast. But some days, there is nothing to scavenge. Some days you must gamble on the plants. You know a few, the tart berries that stain your lips purple but do not make you retch, the roots you dig with sticks that leave your hands bleeding, the pods that crack open to reveal bitter seeds. You must chew slowly, carefully. Trial taught you these things. Trial took lives in the teaching. A cousin once plucked the wrong berry, red and shining, and within hours his stomach twisted him to the ground, froth at his lips. Another chewed the leaves of a plant that smelled sweet and lay stiff before the sun reached its highest point. Their bones mark the lessons in your memory. You remember the plants by smell, by touch, by taste of the air around them, because to forget is to follow them into the earth. Insects become a meal when nothing else can. Termites roasted in the sun, ants scooped by handfuls and crushed between teeth, beetle grubs dug from rotting wood. The fat bursts on your tongue, slick and bitter, but it fills the hollow for a moment. You do not think of disgust, because disgust is an invention of full bellies. Here, every wriggling thing is a chance, and you take it, crunching until your teeth ache, swallowing until your throat protests. Even the buzzing flies that torment your eyes and ears sometimes become food, smashed between palms and licked away with embarrassment, but no shame. You dream of meat, though. Always meat. The smell of it is a spell. When a zebra falls to lions nearby, your mouth waters uncontrollably, even as fear freezes your limbs. You cannot run toward the sound of snarls, yet your body aches to. You wait until the shadows slink away. Bellies swollen, faces bloody, and then you run, half mad with hunger, to tear at what they left. Often there is nothing. Sometimes a strip of tendon, a shred of fat, a rib with marrow to suck. You eat like a thief, looking over your shoulder every moment, expecting teeth to return. But even these scraps feel like a feast. Even blood licked from the dirt feels holy. Your hands are clumsy tools, but learning. You smash stones together, and sometimes they break with edges sharp enough to cut. With these edges, you hack at hides, split small animals, scrape roots. You learn slowly, painfully, to make the earth give more than it wants to. Hunger pushes you to invent, to risk, to fight for things you could never claim bare-handed. Without hunger, you would still be crawling in the dust. Hunger is cruel, but hunger is the midwife of every change. The group suffers together. Infants wail, their thin bellies distended. Mothers press dry breasts to their mouths, praying for milk that will not come. The old grow quieter, eyes dulled, movements slowed. When the young male finally brings back a handful of roots, everyone stares as if he carried the sun itself. The roots are bitter, filled with grit, hard to chew, but the group devours them, scraping dirt with teeth until gums bleed. Even the infant gnaws at a fiber, drool mixing with soil. This is not satisfaction. This is survival. Barely. The sky mocks you with birds, fat with insects, with baboons that feast on fruits you cannot reach. You hear them howl and chatter as they eat, and the sound is a knife in your ribs. You throw stones at trees to knock fruit loose, sometimes succeeding, more often missing and bruising your arms. Still you try, again and again, because every bite stolen from the branches is a triumph. However small, The taste of sweetness on your tongue feels like a miracle, even if it comes once in many suns. At night, hunger is loudest. You curl against the ground, stomach shrieking in the silence, the darkness pressing in with eyes and teeth. You dream of roasted flesh, though you have never seen it. You dream of warmth in your belly, of fullness that lasts more than minutes. You wake and your stomach is still a pit. You chew grass to trick it. You swallow stones small enough to pass, anything to quiet the beast inside. Sometimes it works. Sometimes you vomit until your body is weaker than before. Hunger does not care. Hunger teaches with pain and nothing else. And yet, you live. Somehow you live. Every day is an answer to a question asked by the void. How much will you endure to keep your breath? You endure insects crawling on your food, dirt ground into your gums, bones shattered until your hands bleed, roots that taste like ash, seeds that might kill you but might not. You endure because the alternative is silence, and silence is everywhere waiting. The miracle is not that you are fed, it is that you are not yet starved to death. Tomorrow will ask again. Tomorrow you will answer with teeth, with blood, with desperation. You will answer as long as you can. The hunt is not glory. It is not triumph. It is not painted faces and spears flashing in the sun. Not yet. At 4.7 million years ago, the hunt is desperation. Awkward, clumsy, humiliating. More often than not, the hunter becomes the hunted, the predator, the prey. You are not king here. You are a trespasser in a land owned by teeth, longer than your hands and claws, that carve deeper than your ribs. The hunger that drives you into the open is blind to fear. Your stomach is an empty drum beaten by the wind. Your tongue tastes of metal, though there is no blood in your mouth yet. You watch antelopes scatter like wind-blown seeds, and you ache at the speed of them, legs moving in perfect grace, while yours stumble in uneven rhythm. Your kind can run, yes, but not like them. You can chase, yes, but you tire, lungs burning, knees wobbling, eyes watering. The distance between you and the kill is not only space, it is the centuries of evolution separating predator from almost prey. And yet still you try, because hunger does not listen to reason. The world is filled with things that want to eat you as badly as you want to eat them. Saber-toothed cats crouch in the tall grass, their jaws made for shearing flesh from bone in a single bite. They do not need to run far. They need only patience, a silent wait, a spring, a scream cut short. Hyenas, jaws built for crushing, laugh in the dark and in daylight both, their laughter the sound of meat already lost. Crocodiles wait in every river, every pool, every shadow of water. They do not chase, they only open. You are a meal to all of them. And so your hunt is a constant negotiation. Do you reach for the rabbit with your bare hands, knowing your stumble will alert the cat crouching unseen nearby? Do you chase the small antelope, only to collapse before the chase is half done, and risk being seen as weak by predators circling the periphery? Do you scavenge, waiting until the lions have fed, the hyenas are full, and the jackals are distracted? The safest meat is always the meat already dead, but that meat is already claimed. You arrive at carcasses as a thief, not a killer. You tear what scraps remain, your nails breaking, your teeth aching, your tongue slick with the taste of rot. You do not care. Rot fills the stomach, as well as fresh kill. But sometimes, rarely, chance favors you. A rabbit stumbles into a snare of roots. A bird too slow at takeoff is smashed with a stone. The kill is small, hardly more than a handful, but your group devours it in seconds, fighting for sinew, crunching bones, sucking marrow. Children whimper when nothing is left for them. Mothers hand them half-chewed morsels from their own mouths. You lick blood from your fingers long after it is gone, because the body does not understand enough. The body always asks for more. You watch other predators for your lessons. The lion stalks low, silent, eyes like lanterns in grass. The hyena circles, patient, waiting for weakness. The wild dogs run together, tireless, until prey collapses. You cannot do what they do yet. You do not have their teeth, their speed, their claws, their numbers, but you can follow. You can trail at a distance, waiting for them to miss, to abandon, to leave behind what they cannot finish. You are not proud. Pride does not exist when ribs are ladders pressing against your skin. Fear stalks you every step. To chase meat is to expose yourself. To follow a herd is to walk in open land where you are seen from every angle. To sniff blood is to invite teeth. The grass whispers as you move, every whisper a warning that something else hears you. Your ears ring with phantom sounds, a cough that might be a cat, a crack that might be a hyena's step. Your shoulders tighten until they ache. You know you are not alone. You are never alone. The land is crowded with hungers, and sometimes you do not chase. Sometimes you only run. A shadow moves wrong, and your legs decide before your mind. You sprint until your lungs rip, until your sides stitch, until your vision narrows to black at the edges. Behind you there is breath, heavy and close. Your hair rises with the hot stink of it. Your feet pound mud, stones, grass, anything, until suddenly you dive into thorn, cutting your skin, shredding your arms, but alive. The predator does not follow. It does not need to. It will eat something slower. But you know one day you will be that slower thing. Survival is only postponement. Nightfall makes the hunt worse. You cannot see the eyes until they are inches from yours. The rustle in the grass is magnified 100 times. Every sound a threat, every silence worse. Sometimes you hear screams in the distance, short, sharp, then gone. You huddle with your group, shaking, praying the darkness does not choose you this time. Sleep comes in scraps, always interrupted by fear. You are prey, pretending it predator, fragile animals holding sticks against the endless army of jaws. And yet, every morning you wake, still alive, is proof that the hunt is not always failure. The marrow in your bones tells you so, the muscles on your legs. Thin but surviving, you endure not because you win, but because you do not lose completely. You live on scraps, on chance, on the thin margin between being quick enough or not. You live because predators are not always hungry, because luck sometimes leans toward you, because you have learned to steal and run and hide. You live because you are stubborn, because hunger screams, and you answer again and again, with teeth on bone, with blood on your lips, with fear in your belly but breath still in your chest. The hunt is not glory. The hunt is surviving long enough to be hunted again tomorrow. Shelter is not comfort. Shelter is a pause in the punishment, a negotiation with the sky and the wind, a lie you tell your body that says you are safe when you are not. At 4.7 million years ago, the world does not offer you walls or roofs or doors with latches. It offers you stone, thorn, branch, hole. Each comes with its price. You must choose which enemy you prefer. The cold that chews your bones, the rain that drowns your skin, the sun that burns your eyes, or the beast that already calls the cave its home. The day begins with the sun pressing hard. Heat is not a blanket, it is a hammer. It pounds into your skull, dries your tongue, blisters the top of your shoulders. You long for shadow the way later ages will long for love, but shadows are not empty. They are claimed. A tree that looks like a gift may have a snake twisted in its roots, or a leopard stretched across its branches. A hollow in rock may smell of cool stone, but it also smells of hyena piss or bat guano, warning that something has claimed it before you. Shelter is always owned, and you are always stealing. The night the opposite strikes. The heat drains out of the earth, and the cold creeps in. Your skin prickles, your teeth chatter, your muscles ache from shivering. Without fire, without fabric, you curl into yourself, into each other. The group clumps in a knot, arms over shoulders, infants pressed into the hollow of a mother's chest, old ones squeezed between bodies to trap what warmth they can. You do not lie comfortably. Elbows dig, knees bruise, ribs grind. Sleep is shallow, broken by the chill, broken by fear, broken by the scrape of claw on bark nearby. You wake again and again, convinced you did not survive the hour, only to find your chest still rising. Sometimes you dare caves. Their mouths gape like promises, cool air spilling out, but caves are liars' mouths. You creep close, listening. The silence may mean emptiness. It may mean something waiting, silent as stone, until you step inside. Hyenas chew bones in the back of those caves. Leopards drag their kills into the shadows there. Even pythons coil in silence, patient for weeks. You send the young male forward sometimes, not because he is brave, but because his eyes are sharp and his steps are lighter. He throws stones. If nothing stirs, you risk it. But you never sleep deeply inside. You sleep as if borrowed, knowing you must leave before dawn when the rightful owner returns. Most nights, it is thorn that saves you, branches broken, dragged into a circle, sharp ends pointing outward. It is not a fortress, it is a suggestion. Predators laugh at it. Lions can push through with a paw, leopards leap above with ease. But sometimes, suggestion is enough. Sometimes a hyena tests the edge, sniffs, decides to look elsewhere. Thorn buys you a night, not a future. You weave the branches thicker, bleeding your palms until your fingers are studded with splinters. You build nothing permanent. Nothing here is permanent. Shelter is always temporary. A handful of hours stolen from danger. Rain is a different enemy. It begins with a cool drop on your brow. Welcome, then another. Then a torrent. The ground becomes slick, mud pulling at your feet, sucking them down. Water runs in sheets from slopes, flooding hollows, drowning fire if you are lucky enough to have stolen some. It soaks your hair until it drips into your eyes, chills your skin until your teeth ache, carries insects into your ears and nose. You huddle under branches, but branches break. You crouch under stone overhangs, but water runs down your back in cold streams that never stop. The infants wail, their thin bodies unable to keep heat, the old cough, their chests rattling until the cough becomes silence. Rain writes death quietly, not in teeth but in fever days later. Shelter against rain is the hardest to find. You envy the animals that burrow, the ones with fur that sheds the water. You have only your skin, thin and helpless, and whatever crooked cover you can steal. Wind comes without warning. It howls across the plain, carrying dust that stings your eyes and dries your mouth raw. It pulls branches loose, whips them into your face, scatters the fragile circle of thorn you built the night before. It screams through caves like a voice mocking you. You crouch low, arms over your head, pressing your body against earth. The wind ignores you, strips you, takes your warmth, fills your lungs with grit. It never apologizes. The sun returns each morning, cruel and exacting. You chase moving shade like a dog chasing scraps. You sit in the lee of boulders, in the half shadow of trees, in the hollows where the earth dips. The shade is never enough, never large enough, never lasting. The sun moves, your shadow shrinks, and once again you are exposed. You learn to time your walking with the sky. You move when the sun lowers, when heat softens. You rest when the heat is loudest. Bodies pressed together beneath the meager shadow of one tree. All of you sweating into each other. Flies thick on your backs, but at least your skulls are not splitting with fire from above. Some nights, lightning comes. Forks of light slash the sky, turning the world white for a blink. Then the thunder cracks like a predator's roar stretched across the horizon. You tremble, your group pressed tight, because lightning burns trees. Lightning starts fires. Lightning kills. You do not understand its source, only its fury. And yet, lightning is also a gift. When it sets grass ablaze, it leaves behind flame. If you are quick, if you are desperate, you steal it, carry it smoldering in branches, protect it with your life. For the first time, the night feels less sharp. Predators hesitate before the glow. You huddle around it, not for warmth alone, but for the illusion of power. Fire is not yours yet, but fire begins to teach you that shelter can be more than thorn and stone. Shelter can be light itself. You sleep at last, not because you are safe, but because exhaustion demands payment. You lie on earth still damp with the blood of things eaten before you, your head pillowed on your own arm, your body curled tight to keep heat. The insects crawl, the wind whispers, the dark is full of eyes, but your chest rises, your heart keeps beating, and morning waits, ready to hurt you again. Shelter did not save you. Shelter never saves you. Shelter only lets you live long enough to need it again tomorrow. Fire begins as terror. It does not belong to you. Not yet. It belongs to the sky when it splits itself, to the clouds when they roar, to the trees when they scream and burst into light. The first time you see it, you think the world is ending. Grass turns to orange teeth, branches drip flame like molten fruit, smoke claws into your lungs until you gag. Animals scatter in all directions, zebra crashing through scrub, gazelles bounding, predators abandoning kills, and sprinting shoulder to shoulder with prey, all of them fleeing the same monster. You run too, coughing, crying without sound, your group pressed together in chaos. Behind you the fire eats the earth, and the air tastes of ash. But later, when the storm passes, when the rain drowns the last sparks, you creep back to see what the fire has left. Charred bones, blackened trunks, patches of earth still smoking, and sometimes, amid the ash, food, the carcass of a rabbit roasted in its burrow, the cracked shell of a tortoise with soft flesh steaming, roots singed but sweeter now. You chew cautiously, then greedily. The taste is new, softer, easier, richer. Fire has cooked for you without your asking. Fire is cruel, but fire is also generous. The next time the sky throws fire, you do not only run, you circle back after, searching for the embers, the glowing sticks that still smoke. You lift one with shaking hands. It burns your palm. You drop it, scream, stare in horror. Then you try again. You wrap the ember in leaves, in bark, in dry grass, blowing gently to keep it alive. You carry it carefully, hissing when sparks lick your skin, desperate not to lose it. The fire is not yours. You cannot make it, cannot summon it, but you can steal it, and theft is survival. At night, the flame is more than warmth. It is a wall of light. You huddle around it, your group pressing close, eyes wide in awe. Shadows stretch and dance across your faces. For the first time, the dark does not own you entirely. Eyes glimmer at the edge of the grass, yellow, green, red, but they do not come closer. The predators circle, frustrated, their patience tested. The fire hisses back at them, daring them to cross. You laugh, a sound raw and strange, because something finally fears you. The children poke at the embers, watching sparks leap like stars. The old reach their hands toward it, trembling, soaking in the heat. For a few hours, you feel like rulers of the night. But fire is also fragile. A single gust of wind, a careless step, a rainstorm, and it dies. When it dies, the night rushes back, louder than before. The hyenas laugh from the shadows. The cold returns, seeping into your marrow. You curse the dead fire without words, mourning not only the loss of warmth, but the loss of power. You try to coax it back, blowing on the ashes, feeding them with dry leaves, but the glow fades. You scream in frustration, in grief. You do not yet know how to make fire. You only know how to beg it not to leave. Still, you learn. You keep watch when lightning strikes, running toward the smoke instead of away, seizing branches still burning. You learn to guard the flame, feeding it small twigs, bark, dry grass. You cradle it as if it were a child, never letting it out of sight. You learn to move with it, to carry it in smoldering logs when your group travels, blowing gently every few minutes to keep the ember breathing. You learn that damp wood kills it, that too much fuel chokes it, that greed burns it out. You learn patience. Fire teaches you the first lessons of control. The smell of smoke becomes a comfort. It clings to your hair, your skin, your hands. It seeps into your lungs until it is part of you. Animals smell it too and avoid you. They give your camp a wider berth. You feel taller, stronger, as if the fire's light has wrapped around your body. You no longer crouch, trembling at every rustle. You sit straighter, eyes reflecting the glow, daring the dark to challenge you. You have stolen a piece of the sky and bent it to your will. For the first time, survival feels less like hiding and more like ruling. But fire punishes arrogance. A child reaches too close and screams as skin blisters. A log rolls, sparks scatter into grass, and flames leap higher than you can control. You stomp, you throw dirt, you cry out, but the fire does not listen. It consumes indifferent. You learn respect the hard way. Fire is no pet, no servant. It is a god that tolerates you only if you kneel carefully, treat it with reverence, or be devoured by it. The meat you roast on purpose changes you. The marrow softens, the fat drips, the flavors explode on your tongue. The food fills you longer, sits easier in your gut. You are less sick, less weak. The group grows stronger. Infants cry less. Old ones last longer. Fire has reshaped your insides as much as your world. You do not know it, but your teeth, your bones, your brains are already changing because of it. You sit around the flames and chew, and in that chewing you are becoming something else. The night is still dangerous. Predators still wait. The cold still bites. The rain still drowns. But now you have a weapon. However fragile, you lift a burning branch, wave it at the eyes in the dark, and they retreat. You thrust it into the grass, and the grass hisses and bows. You feel for a moment like more than prey. You feel like something new, something rising. Fire is not yours yet. You cannot summon it with sticks or stones. You are still a thief, not a maker, but you are a clever thief, and you are learning. The fire whispers that you can be more than what you are. The fire says, "Take me, and you will live longer. Lose me, and you are nothing again." You listen. You obey. You cradle the embers through the night, through the wind, through the rain, until morning comes. And when the dawn breaks and the sun rises, you stare at the pale light in the sky and laugh softly, because now you carry a piece of the sun in your hands. Infants are the loudest danger in your world. Their cries are not soft. They are sirens that cut through the grass in the night, inviting everything with teeth to come closer. At 4.7 million years ago, to carry a child is to carry a beacon, and yet you carry them anyway, because not carrying them means extinction. The young are both promise and punishment, a weight you cradle against your chest, knowing that the world around you is licking its lips. They cling with fingers that curl around hair, skin, bone. Their eyes are wide, unfocused, demanding. They do not understand stealth. They do not understand the patience required to drink from a stream without disturbing the crocodile resting beneath the reeds. They only understand hunger, thirst, cold. They wail when milk is late. They squeal when a thorn pricks. They sob when left even for a heartbeat. Each sound is a knife through the darkness, and every predator nearby turns its head. You press their faces into your chest, smothering cries with skin, whispering nothing, because words do not exist, only breath against hair. Sometimes it works, sometimes the sound cuts anyway, sharp and bright, and your group shifts, nervous, scanning shadows, every member calculating whether tonight is the night they lose another one. The mothers bear the heaviest cost, their bodies thin to skeletons because their milk drains them while their own stomachs remain empty. They walk with infants clamped to hips, dragging their tired legs, ribs showing like ladders on both mother and child. Their breasts sag, their nipples cracked, but the infants demand, bite, feed. Mothers stagger, but they do not drop their loads, because to drop a child is to lose not only a body, but a future. Fathers circle them, restless, protective, snapping at shadows, but even they know their teeth and sticks cannot always stop what waits. Half the children do not live past their first years. Some are taken by predators, lifted screaming into the night until silence falls. Some die quietly, their bodies too weak, their bellies too swollen from hunger, their eyes too dull. You bury none of them. There is no time for grief when the living must keep moving. Bones are left in grass, covered by flies, scattered by scavengers. The mothers cry, silent tears leaking down dust-caked cheeks, and keep walking. To stop is to join the dead. The children who live are hard lessons made flesh. They walk sooner, climb sooner, watch sooner. They learn to cling to backs and shoulders while the group moves. They learn to stay low, to hush at a glance, to press their faces into the dirt when danger hovers. They chew roots before their teeth are ready, their gums bleeding, because waiting for soft food is a luxury the earth does not allow. Their games are not games. They mimic digging, stalking, smashing stone, gestures of survival rehearsed as play. Childhood here is not innocence. It is apprenticeship to pain. You guard them because they are your only hope of stretching this fragile experiment of life into another season, another age. The group moves differently with children. Distances are shorter. Water stops more frequent. Shade sought more carefully. The cries decide the pace. Morning comes, and the children wake first, pulling at hair, stumbling on unsteady legs, chattering in small sounds. Their energy is endless, their hunger endless, their noise endless. You scold them with gestures, with sharp glances, but they do not understand caution yet. You must be their caution. You must see danger before it arrives, because they cannot. Your life is no longer only yours. It is theirs too, tied to your body, tied to your choices. Every step you take is for them. The miracle is not that so many die. The miracle is that any life at all, that infants grow into children, that children grow into hunters, that hunters grow into parents who carry the next generation on their backs. Each child who survives is a rebellion against the world, a defiance against predators, hunger, disease, cold. Each child is proof that even in a world designed to devour you, life claws back. Your circle is not gentle. It cannot afford to be. Food arrives in bursts and leaves in droughts. Water is a rumor that keeps moving. Shade shrinks. Night multiplies. In such a place, every mouth is an argument. You share because not sharing makes enemies, and enemies make corpses. You keep because too much giving makes ghosts out of those who gave. The balance shifts hour by hour, bite by bite. A strip of meat becomes a referendum. Who found it? Who bled for it? Who needs it most? The mother with milk running thin. The old one whose eyes still see farther than anyone's. The young male who will fight first when the grass breaks wrong. Decisions happen without words, decided by posture, by who looks away first, by who lifts a rock, and who keeps hands open. Fairness is not a rule. It is a mood. You learn each other the way you learn the sky, who startles and who stands, who hears snakes before they move, who can climb with a child on their back, who remembers where the roots kept water 3 dry seasons ago. Memory becomes a shared tool, a woven basket no single skull could carry alone. When someone points with their chin toward a line of low hills, you understand the sentence. There are figs there, or there were, or we hope there will be. You talk with fingers, with breath, with the set of your shoulders. The vocabulary is small, but it is sharp. A hiss can mean silence. A click can mean look. A small bark behind your teeth can mean run. Later ages will call what you do proto-language. You call it living. Gossip exists before words. It lives in glances, in who sits next to whom, in who shares marrow, and who pretends not to see. Trust is a bowl with a crack. It holds enough if you do not shake it. You test each other every day. You notice who eats before passing, who guards the fire without being told, who takes the infant from a mother's arms so she can drink without drowning the child. You notice who sleeps when they promise to watch, who drifts to the edge of the circle when danger wrestles, who freezes when eyes glow at the tree line. There are punishments older than speech, the shove that says not again, the withheld scrap that says earn it, the slow pushing out that leaves someone just far enough from the group that the night can finish the sentence you started. Exile is the first death penalty. No one announces it. Feet do it for you. Still, you need each other. 2 watch while the 3rd drinks. 4 drive a small antelope toward thorn, while another waits with a rock. Many hands weave the thorn wall faster. Many throats shout at a hyena until it decides you are too expensive. When lightning delivers fire, many bodies keep it alive in shifts, blowing, feeding, guarding. One sleeps while another hums low in their chest to soothe an infant. Your bodies sink like tides. The group teaches you rhythms. Your bones will remember when your hair goes gray. Stand at dusk, eat at the rim of shadow, move when the heat leans on your head, dig when the wind smells like old rain. Rituals are simply successful accidents repeated until they feel holy. The stranger arrives as a shape that does not fit the math of your circle. At first, it is only a smell on the wind, like yours but not yours. Grass and skin and smoke with a different arrangement. Then footprints, heel toe where they should be toe heel, a crookedness you don't recognize. Then the sound of breathing where only frogs should be. Then eyes, your spine stiffens before your mind has a thought to put in it. Strangers are possibility and danger braided together. They can bring mates and meat and new paths. They can bring rocks to the skull and long nights of missing faces. Your posture decides the first answer. You stand taller, but not as tall as you could. Your hands show emptiness, then close casually around stones. Your mouth opens to show teeth. Friend or threat, you can pretend either way. The stranger's circle mirrors yours, heads tilted, fingers flexing, infants tightened against ribs. Both groups are calculating the same sums. How many of them, how many of us, how hungry, how tired, how cornered, how desperate. Sometimes it is simple. You have water, they have meat. You set a small heap of figs on the sand and back away. One of them puts down a strip of flesh and backs away. Both sides take and pretend not to stare. Throats swallow. Shoulders unlock. The air warms by a small degree. Someone laughs. A single bark, surprised by their own chest. You are not friends. You are a momentary truce drawn with fruit and blood. Tomorrow you may be enemies again. Tonight you share a line of fire, while each group keeps its own side. Sparks wear 2 dialects. Sometimes it is not simple. Your groups clash at the lip of the same seep. A rock thrown to warn becomes a rock thrown to harm. One skull opens, red writes quickly over dust. Screams happen, the kind that do not stop when the mouth closes, because they continue in the chests of those still standing. Both bands retreat, less than they were. The ground remembers, with a scatter of teeth. For months every shadow is taller. For months every child plays quieter. Violence shrinks a world that was already small. And then there is the kind of stranger who is not a group, but a single body with eyes you cannot look away from. They are from elsewhere, far enough that their stride is unfamiliar, and their scar maps are written in an alphabet you have not seen. They bring a posture that says they are equal parts broken and unafraid. Mating is not a ceremony. It is a bargain struck beneath thorn, a debt paid in protection and food and presence. Your circle loosens to let a new shape in or tightens to deny it. If it loosens, the circle changes forever. Babies will carry cheekbones that did not exist here before. Paths will be remembered that none of you walked, but now you know them anyway. A single stranger can bend the river of your descendants by the angle of a wrist. Within your own circle, there are ranks that have nothing to do with crowns and everything to do with usefulness. The good nose earns first sip at the seep because she finds the seep when it is only a rumor. The light sleeper becomes the dusk sentinel because he wakes at the sound of dust changing its mind. The old one with a torn knee walks at midday with the children and tells the story of a season when figs were thick as flies and where to look for the same kind of soil. You do not owe the old one because they are old. You owe them because you are standing where their feet learned not to fall. Authority grows out of scars and results. You practice division of fear, as real as division of labor. Two watch the left, while two watch the right. One stays with the dying, because dying alone makes the group smaller than the corpse does. One carries fire. One carries an infant who is not hers because the mother's hands are needed for digging. One walks ahead with nothing in his grip, so he can climb faster if the grass speaks leopard. When you move, it looks like a single animal with many legs. When you stop, it looks like an accident, but every back is to a rock. Every face has a lane to run. Every child is within reach of a taller shadow. There are moments that feel like gifts dropped from a future you do not believe in yet. A broken stone splits into an edge, so perfect it slices hide like leaf. You show it and hands gather, eyes bright. You cut and pass, cut and pass. The next day another tries to break stone the same way. It fails 10 times. The 11th time it sings. Now there are 2 edges. Now there are 3. The tribe is a brain around a fire, learning how to be bigger than any skull in it. Skill moves through bodies like heat. The first time you notice this, you do not call it culture, you call it relief. Night still owns most of the hours. Around the fire, the circle tells itself who it is, without words, with the slow ceremony of passing marrow, with the rhythm of breaths. You recognize comfort in the pattern of coughs, in the weight of the infant as he slides from hand to hand, in the way the young male always sits just outside the glow, pretending not to listen while he listens to everything. The stranger who joined sits near the smoke until the smoke smells the same on them as on you. Tomorrow, when the lions cough at the edge of grass, the stranger will stand when you stand. After a season, the stranger is not a stranger by any name you never had. There are rules. They are not written. You feel them when you break them. Do not eat until mothers have fed the smallest mouths. Do not sleep with your back to water. Do not keep fire where the wind will turn it into a mouth. Do not wander out of sight when the heat lies down. The heat wakes with teeth at dusk. Do not carry more sorrow than your feet can lift. Do not make the circle decide whether you are worth the risk again and again. They will decide no. When a body stops, touch the face once, then leave. When a body begins, wet, loud, furious at air, touch the face again and know you have another reason to keep walking. The tribe is a shelter made of moving parts. It fails often. It leaks. It bites. But it extends your life by the width of a season, then another, until seasons stack and become years. Alone you would have been a beautiful story, told bone by bone to the grass. Together you are a story that argues with time. You are still meat to the night, but now the night has to work for it. You sleep, finally, with 3 breaths close enough to steal heat from, and one more a little farther out, listening for what comes. Somewhere beyond the thorn, another circle is doing the same. In the space between you, the future sharpens its teeth and also its tools. You will meet again. You will trade, or you will bleed. Either way, you will become more than you were because the other exists. In the morning you rise to the weight of each other's eyes and feel something older than fire move through the group. The knowledge that your life is not yours, not entirely. It belongs to the hands that will catch you when you fall, to the infant that will climb your ribs like a tree, to the old one who will point with a shaking finger toward the long dark shape of a storm and say in a voice that is not a voice, "There." You nod. You move. The circle stretches thin, then pulls tight again, elastic as the day demands. The stranger's footprints are faint, now mixed with yours. The tribe goes on. Not safe, never safe, but together, which is the closest thing to safety the world allows. The land itself is your enemy, and sometimes your only teacher. To live is to walk, and to walk is to gamble. At 4.7 million years ago, the ground never promises anything. Rivers shift without warning. Grasslands burn in a single afternoon. Herds vanish over the horizon, leaving dust instead of meat. To stay is to starve. To move is to risk. You rise with sore feet, bellies groaning, shoulders already bent from the day before, and you step forward because backward is not an option. Every path you take is across a landscape of death. The sun is merciless. It pins you to the earth like an insect on a pin, pressing heat into your skull until thoughts scatter like frightened birds. Your skin cracks, sweat pours, then vanishes as if stolen by the air. Dust clings to your lips, grinding between your teeth until every bite tastes of grit. The group walks single file, heads down, eyes scanning ground and horizon both. You know the signs of danger by heart. Vulture shadows circling low mean carcasses. Carcasses mean predators near. Grass flattened in arcs means elephants moved through, and elephants never leave quietly. Prints in mud mean water, but also crocodiles. Every step is a reading, every path a story written in claw marks, dung piles, broken branches. Sometimes the earth itself betrays you. The ground opens into gullies, hidden by grass, sending a child tumbling until bone snaps. Rocks roll under your feet, slicing skin, swelling ankles. Mud sucks at your legs until you cannot pull free, and someone must wrench you out before the night finds you trapped. Rain comes sudden, drowning paths, turning streams into floods that roar louder than lions. The water drags infants from arms, drags fire from your hands, drags the will to move from your chest. You stagger onto higher ground, coughing, your body shaking not from cold, but from terror at how quickly the sky can erase you. There are bones everywhere. markers of mistakes. A zebra skull white against dark soil. The rib cage of a wildebeest gnawed clean. The skeleton of one of your own, half buried, jaw hanging open in a scream that never ended. You do not stop. You do not mourn. Bones are warnings, not monuments. You step over them, whispering with your eyes to the child beside you. Look, remember, not here, not this way. The animals around you are both map and menace. You follow baboons because they know where fruit trees still hold. You follow birds because they know where insects swarm. You follow elephants because they know where hidden water lies. But you also run from them. Baboons bare teeth and scream when you come too close. Birds startle and betray your presence to predators. Elephants turn and charge, tusks carving the air, and you scatter like frightened mice. Every guide is also a threat. Every ally is also a danger. You cross open plains where there is no cover. The wind blows across grasses that reach your chest, and you feel naked in the vastness. Predators see you from miles away. You imagine eyes on your back, claws itching, jaws salivating. The group bunches tighter, scanning, hurrying, trying to become small in a place that makes you huge. When the shadows of vultures cross your path, your stomach turns. Are they circling prey ahead, or you? Sometimes you find water, but water is a trap. The edges of pools are littered with carcasses, bones broken by crocodile jaws. You must drink, but you must kneel in the same place where others died. You cup the foul water with trembling hands, scanning the surface for bubbles, the reeds for sudden ripples. Every swallow is both life and invitation to death. You pull away quickly, wiping your mouth, urging the children back, hearts pounding until you are miles from the smell of mud and blood. Food is no kinder. Fruit trees are rare, their branches often stripped by animals quicker and braver than you. What you find may be bitter, sour, laced with poison you cannot see. Roots fight your hands, stones dull your digging sticks. When you find meat, it is usually not fresh. You steal scraps from the ground, red turning to brown, buzzing with flies. You gag, you swallow anyway, because the horizon ahead holds no guarantee of another chance. The migration does not end. When the water dries, you walk. When the food is gone, you walk. When predators claim your ground, you walk. Feet blister, crack, bleed. Ankles swell. Children cry until they can no longer cry. Old ones fall behind, waving you forward with trembling hands. You do not stop. Stopping is death. You glance back once, twice, until the shape of them is lost to the shimmer of heat. You carry the memory like a stone in your chest, but you keep moving. The land demands it. Night finds you in strange places. Thorn circles built hastily, fire carried weakly, sparks coaxed into flame only by desperation. Eyes glow from beyond the light. The laughter of hyenas rides the wind. You huddle closer, pressing together, praying the circle is enough, the fire is enough, that this patch of earth will not claim you before morning. You listen to the growls in the distance, and you know others did not make it. Tonight the grass was their grave. Every morning you wake, surprised. Your body aches, your belly groans, your throat scratches, but you rise. You look at the horizon, endless and cruel, and you walk into it again. The land offers you nothing, but you steal from it anyway. Water from its cracks, food from its edges, shelter from its shadows. You walk because walking is the only weapon you have against death. You walk because if you stop, you become another skeleton, another warning, another story the land tells in bones. Night comes like a mouth closing. The light thins to a bruise, and then the bruise deepens until the sky is all blood turned to ink. Heat runs out of the ground and leaves it cold as a river rock. Every sound sharpens, every silence grows teeth. At 4.7 million years ago, night is not half the day. It is the owner of the day that has stepped outside and returned with questions. You answer those questions with a circle, with thorn, with embers, with breath you try to quiet, with eyes that refuse to blink. You choose your place while the sun is still arguing with the horizon. Back to stone, front to a small slope that makes the grass show its secrets. Thorn dragged into a ring, points outward, hands bleeding, print after print into bark. The digging stick that was a tool becomes a stake. A log that was a burden becomes a wall. The infant that would not stop climbing finally collapses against a shoulder, his breath a fast tapping bird. Someone checks the ember bundle, blows a thin thread of glow into a bead of orange, feeds it with the driest grass you saved all day for this 1 minute. Flame coughs, then sits up. The circle exhales. You are not safe, but you are louder now. Loud enough that some things will hesitate. Darkness makes a map of eyes. They appear at the edges of the grass, low, high, single, in pairs, each a small lantern with its own language. Hyena eyes are coins that move like laughter does, jerking, curious, greedy. Lion eyes are steady as coals set far apart. Leopard eyes blink once, then not again until they move, and when they move, they are suddenly where your heart is. Jackal eyes flicker and fade and return, more rumor than threat, until hunger makes them brave. Beyond the eyes is a lake of black that holds what you cannot know. You were not made for this kind of seeing. Fire gives you back a little of what the dark stole, and in return it takes your smell and throws it everywhere. The bargain is always uneven. Voices are different now. The group speaks in the grammar of small sounds, a click that means hush, a breath taken too slowly that means something moved, a humming note that has no meaning but keeps the infant asleep. You chew without chewing, tongue moving over nothing, because the mouth remembers food when the brain tries to remember calm. Your belly complains but quietly. Hunger knows the etiquette of night. Scream in the day, whisper in the dark. The old one sits with their back to the stone and their face to the fire and goes somewhere else behind the eyes. Not sleep, not quite. A place where memory and watching take turns. The wind is a liar at night. It brings the smell of water when there is none, the smell of smoke when it is only stars, the smell of cat twice when there is one, and once when there are three. It carries your scent out like a flag. It pushes the fire toward the grass, and you push the fire back with a stick. Sparks leap, imitate stars, die. Somewhere to the south a lion coughs, a single blunt sound that makes your skin try to climb off of you. Somewhere to the east, something screams high, and then stops as if a hand covered its mouth, except hands here end in claws. You think of sleep, and sleep thinks of you the way a cat thinks of a bird. It toys with you first. Your head nods, snaps up, nods again. Your eyelids weigh more than your arms. Your neck tries to settle on your shoulder like a tired bird folding one wing. The infant wakes and announces himself to the continent. The sound drills into you, into the night, into whatever hands are currently empty of meat. You press a palm over the small mouth, firm but careful, a cup of skin holding the ocean back. Little legs kick, then soften. The cry is swallowed, becomes a hiccup, becomes breath against your palm. Later you will notice the moon and call it beautiful. Tonight you notice the way the moon makes your hand glow pale over the child's face, and you think only of how that pale is a signal. There is a rhythm to the hours. First, everything outside is noisy with claims. Hyenas arguing, lions saying I am here, frogs insisting they are a nation, insects singing their power. Then comes the slow hour, when even predators get careful, when sound is a debt nobody wants to owe. That is when the worst happens, because it happens without notice. The leopard arrives like a thought you didn't know you were having. 1 second, there is grass. The next second, there is a shape in the grass that is not grass. A breeze brings the smell of rain, and something like relief leans in the distance. But rain at night is two-faced. It quiets the dust and cools the rocks and makes the hyenas reconsider their routes. It also hates your fire. The first drops are fat, joyful, too loud. You throw a blanket of dry grass across the flames, and it smokes like a warning. You shield it with your body. Rain chooses your neck as a path and runs down your spine like a knife's flat side. The old one turns the ember nest with a stick, finds the heart of orange under the black, and uncovers it like a midwife. Everyone leans, cupping, breathing, making a wall with shoulders and backs until the fire remembers how to be alive. The rain tests you, fails you, then moves away. The stars blink as if they forgot themselves. You count breaths again and again and again. In the arena beyond the ring, something eats something else, and you listen to the whole story because you cannot help it. The chase is a soft thunder. The catch is a thud like a fist into wet cloth. The end is the sound a flute would make if a flute were made of lungs. You tell yourself to be grateful because hungry lions are worse than eating lions. Gratitude is a word you do not have, but your shoulders drop half a finger's width. Your teeth unclench long enough to remind your jaw of blood. The infant dreams and smiles because infants do not yet divide the world into things that end and things that don't. The old one hums a new hum that no one has heard before, and somehow the hum draws everyone's breath into the same speed. Time is strange here. A moment takes an hour to pass. An hour is 3 seconds long. Someone snores, and it is the funniest thing you have ever heard, because laughter happens at the edges of fear, where the skin is thin and any touch makes a sound. You almost let it out. You do not. You save it for when the sun returns. You save everything for when the sun returns. The sun is the god that keeps its promise more often than the others. There is always a test. Sometimes it is small. The ember that tries to die, the thorn that breaks and makes a door a jackal could use, if it knew doors. Sometimes it is grand. The lion that decides the circle's arithmetic is wrong tonight and dares the fire. You stand as one animal with many sticks, and you show the fire to the lion, and the lion shows its teeth to your sticks, and the night holds its breath while math and hunger argue. Often hunger wins elsewhere, and the lion remembers it left something half-eaten and goes to correct the mistake. Sometimes math wins here, because many is a word that means wait to a predator too. Very rarely hunger wins here, and then there is blood in your fire, and the whole world smells like a storm breaking inside your bones. You survive that night too, or you do not. If you survive it, you will wear the memory on your skin in white lines, and you will pretend those lines mean you are meant to live, and not that you were allowed to. The hour before light has a taste. It tastes like stone and wet grass and teeth put away. It tastes like the sky is making a choice and is almost done making it. Your eyes hurt from being eyes for too long. Your muscles shiver from the tiny movements that pretend they are still. Your mind tries to show you pictures of sleeping, and you punish it with attention until it obeys. The first bird is rude. It declares ownership of the morning, while the morning is still deciding if it will arrive. You hate it and love it because it means you have crossed another country of dark. A ribbon of gray pulls itself along the edge of the earth. Shapes become outlines. Outlines become things. Eyes fade, not because they left, but because their owners have decided daylight is an insult. You do not leap up. You rise like a person learning to be a person, slowly, with caution, with thanks you don't know how to give. You feed the fire once more, and then you let it shrink to a memory, because the day will eat it if you don't. You pull thorns back into bundles for later, because later is a place you have earned. You count the circle the way a hand counts its fingers. 1, 2, 3, alive, alive. You do not say the names. You do not have names. You have faces, and faces are enough. The infant wakes and makes a sound like a small animal that believes in heaven. You put your forehead to his and remember the promise you made to the night and did not break. You will have to make it again in 12 hours. The promise does not care that you kept it today. It will ask new interest tomorrow. Morning looks like mercy from far away and work from up close. The sun climbs ready to hit you again. Thirst rubs its hands. Hunger rolls its shoulders. The land lays out its old puzzle with new pieces. Where did the herd go? Where did the water hide? Where did the cats sleep? Where did the storm step? You gather the circle into a rope with your movements and pull it forward. You are tired in the way mountains are tired, carved by weather, still standing. You did not win the night. You endured it. Enduring is the word this world respects. Before you leave, you look back at the place where your bodies made a small refusal of extinction. The scorched patch where sparks tried to run. The pressed grass where sleep and not sleep fought. The bones you did not make tonight. The eyes that went away. You nod because the body wants to nod when it has been allowed to keep itself. The sky is already blue enough to pretend it was never black. You put your feet into yesterday's footprints until new ground demands new answers. Night will come again. It will always come. It will always be a mouth closing, but you will have thorns to argue with it, and embers, and each other, and the lesson that the dark is not a verdict, but a season. You will sit in it like a witness and tell it you have heard its questions before. You will hold a branch that remembers lightning, and you will show it to eyes that remember meat. You will promise a small heart against your ribs that you will be here at morning, and sometimes you will be lying, and sometimes you will be right. You will become the animal that knows how to wait. This is the shape of your survival, not heroism, not conquest, but the long, stubborn refusal to be swallowed, all night, every night, until time itself learns your name and writes it in daylight.